So you know me. I be in this internet street. So I'm a book up on Reddit now. And I'm at Reddit and I saw the title. It says, my boyfriend went back to his abusive ex and her family. So, you know, I'm in these people's business. So it goes, genuinely don't know what else to say here. I'm still processing this. I met this guy. He's perfect for me in all ways. We went on dates every 2 days, slept over since the second week. Oh, God. Slept over since the second week of knowing each other. And by the second month, we were like married couple. Girl, please. Child. Oh, Lord. We're going to keep going. By the second month, we were like a married couple, dancing in the kitchen, spending any free moment together while he reassured me how perfect and so much better I am. So you was dating him while he over there comparing you to his ex? Let me just read the whole thing. Bro was talking about getting married in 3 years and how we should get an apartment together soon. In 2 months. Anyways, 3rd month passed. He changed out of nowhere and suddenly everything I do is weird and annoying. People say this is love bombing. But y'all love bomb each other. And he's not over his ex. He used you as a... What do they call it? I can't remember what they call it. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Turns out his abusive ex tried calling him and showing up at his work. Not to mention she keyed his car, broke his teeth out. She used a sharp object on him and he stayed in that very, very toxic relationship for almost 6 years. He couldn't handle it and broke things off with me. We stayed in brief contact until yesterday because he told me that he went over to their house. She lives with her mother still. And they had some sort of confrontation. I tried telling him that it's hurting his healing process. He told me that he won't block these people and then second later block me. Everywhere. He blocked me everywhere on everything. Like, what the F? What was the point of Pinky promising me ish and then just doing that? How old are these people? I baked for him, helped him clean his plate in 3 months. I baked for him, helped him clean his place, supported him, you give the boy money? And even stayed up at night calming him down when he grit his teeth in sleep or twitched, and that's what I get? I'm not even mad he left anymore. I'm just mad that another junkie gets sweet, caring, loyal guy while I'm a rebound. God knows which time. Rebound, that's what you are. I'm going to give you advice. Y'all ain't going to take it, but I'm still going to give it to you. Never date a guy if it's less than, I would say a year, but hey, y'all are going to say no, but I would say a year, since you got to have a very serious long-term relationship. Men don't process things right away. They do rebounds. And then for some reason, they try to go back to the ex. Even no matter how bad it is. So if you popping in the first 1 to 6 months, you're just something to pass the time. He hasn't dealt with the emotion of the ex. And I've observed men a lot. Initially, most of them run through the streets, can't find the bond that they had with the ex, that emotional bond. And so now they try to go back to the ex because now they're not sure that they can find that bond with someone else, especially when it's them that cheated. It's them that did something. In this case, surely bad shit, right? But that's what men do. So that first year, you can have a friends with benefit if you so choose. You can have a, nightly pop up at 3 a.m. type situation if you so choose. But trying to do serious relationship with a person that just got out of a relationship is stupid. And in this case, you allowed him to sit there and compare you to his ex. Girl, the whole time he was with you, he was thinking about the ex. And then you got annoying because he's about to get back with the ex. And then, by the way, people that rush into the relationship, especially 1 to 3, 6 months of it, what end up happening is you guys love bomb each other, right? The person that is desperate, the person that seeks affection the most, which is going to be her in this situation, gets a high and a boost in her confidence in him saying that he wants her. She's better than the ex, not realizing that that's actually a red flag. Why is he comparing you to the ex? Why is he thinking about the ex? You understand me? Right? Then you guys go in love bombing stage. You guys build a sexual bond. You don't know each other. In 3 months, I promise you, even if you had a date every 2 days, the date every 2 days was because he didn't want to be by himself. You didn't pick up on that, did you? The date every 2 days is because he don't want to be by himself. He wants to spend time with you. So being with him all the time is because he was using you to handle his emotions. And he don't want to be by himself. Because then he's going to be depressed and he's going to be sad. And that's an emotion men don't like. Plus, he told you that she keyed his car, that she broke his TEETH out, and that she allegedly STABB'd him. That might be a lie. That don't have to be true. I'm not saying that women don't. No, that's not what I'm saying. I am saying that men and women will lie. They will tell you all sorts of things about the ex so you give them pity. They're going to tell you that the ex cheated on them when in reality they were the ones that cheated on the ex. I've seen men and women do it. They think it's funny. Because if they tell you the truth, you might judge them. You're not going to feel pity for them. You're going to feel like what the results of what happened, your actions led to this. You understand me? But if he tells you a sad story about how the ex used a sharp object on him, the ex hit out his teeth. You just stood there and let her hit out your teeth? How did she hit out your teeth? What's the story behind this one, sir? And she keyed your car for nothing. Nothing at all. You ain't did nothing while she keyed your car. Okay. Y'all got to be better. Once you start telling those stories, you have to be able to see the toxicity, just looking at you plainly, and then make a choice to step away from that. And in this case, you walked into a love bombing. You walked into a rebound situation. You walked into it wanting to feel better than the ex, thinking that you're better than the ex. Because right now you're thinking that you're better than the ex. When he might have lied on the ex. He probably got into a fight and somebody else STABB'd him. Who knows what was happening. Now, I'm not saying she didn't do it, but I'm saying you don't know if any of this is true. All right. Let's head into the comment section to see if anybody sees what I see. Because you already know this is read the comments. So let's see. Did you actually know the ex? Exactly. Maybe he just made it all up and you were a side piece till ex got available. I did not read the comments and I didn't read the whole thing. I only saw the title. Swear. All right, so we're going to continue. Oh, Jesus. Somebody said, didn't think about that, to be honest. You didn't think about nothing. Nothing wasn't thought about. You just went into it head first. Now, it can make for a good story. And if you're just open to being in emotions, I know somebody that falls in love every 2 months. And if you're open to that because you are loved, because you love love, then do that with the understanding that that's how you are, that's your personality. But stop being naive. Stop it. Cut it out. Cut it out. You know what I mean? They said that they didn't think about that, to be honest. I ate dinner more than once at his parents' house and met his grandma. He seemed rather legit in his story and put together. I should have mentioned I also met his friends and they had me added everywhere too. What that have to do with nothing? So, you're the girl helping him to get over the ex. And the fact that all of that happened and he stayed with her tells you that he likes toxic. You're not toxic enough. I'm just saying. These comments are effing disgusting. If the genders were reversed in this situation, everyone would be singing a different tune. DV is a horrible situation and people who are survivors of it are usually insanely damaged from it. And sadly, most of the time, they end up going back to their abuser. Women, men, it doesn't matter. They are mentally broken by the person. The abuser gets some kind of hold on them and they feel like they're oxygen to them. Literally need them in their lives. I feel bad for this guy because he probably threw away something very healthy for something that can kill him. A 3 months should know the boy for. 3 months. This shit was unhealthy anyways. I feel bad for this guy because he probably threw away something very healthy for something that can take his life. Growing up, my mother worked for a shelter system for DV survivors and I spent my entire childhood learning their patterns, reactions, thought processes, and everything. If you truly care for this guy and think he might be worth pursuing, try to reach him. Bad advice. You very well could save his life. My only advice, if you decide to do it, prepare to be disappointed. If what he says about the ex is true, where the bumbleclat you go trouble the girl man for? You don't see he can't protect you. He can't protect his damn self from that crazy effort. So why are you going to bother her mans for her to come key your car and beat your ass? If she can knock his teeth out, girl, you don't stand a chance. Good luck. And she used a sharp object on him. Are you built for that? Because if you're not built for that, it's not like you should go find another man. He made his choice. Live with it. Move on. Move around. Watch out. You know what I mean? Over 90% of DV victims return to their partners multiple times after they leave. It's like a substance. I really hope for his sake he ends up cutting his habits. Op responded and said, I don't think they're trying to be horrible. It's easier to sympathize with me because I wrote it from my perspective. I would be thankful if you could give me some tips on what to do, how to approach if he contacts me again, and what to avoid. When he contacts you again, block him. Actually, he shouldn't be able to contact you because you should have blocked him. This boy is going to use you every time he needs an emotional sponge. Every time he needs energy because his ex is sucking his energy, he's going to come and suck yours and have you sitting over here on Reddit writing long theses about how much you love him. But that's just my advice. I still care for him as a person, and even though I don't want to date him anymore, if you don't want to date him anymore, mind your business. You're lying. I still want to be sure I can support him in future from safe distance. The distance you should take is trying to avoid him so his girl don't come beat your butt. But you ain't gonna take my advice. So the person responding and said, I get your point, but as someone who works with a population of vulnerable people, I get a little frustrated that men are so often overlooked in certain things. It's easy to jump on the bandwagon of men bad these days, and I can't help but point out that it's sometimes harder for them than it is for women because not only how little attention they get in these situations, but how rarely they're believed as well. I love to give some advice, but overall, each situation of DV is very different. There are main things that nearly all situations have in common, but each case is important to look at individually. Broadly, I'd suggest keeping in mind that to him, this woman is not bad. Even if he says that he thinks she is, his brain will not see her that way. She's a lifeline to him, as sad as that is. Also, please keep in mind that there's no wrong way to go about this. If you want to distance yourself, you are fully within your right to do that. If you really do want to help, I'd suggest looking into the 24/7 hotline in your area. They're really helpful with resources, and they can suggest some stuff to help you navigate this, as well as chat services for you and him. Assume you can get him to admit there's a problem, because like with substance addicts, that's always the hardest step. I want to refrain from giving anything specific as advice. While I grew up around this stuff and work in a similar field, I don't actively participate in the work at the moment, and I know there's changes every day in the way to approach the situation, as well as guidelines on how to help. I really wish you the best of luck with this, though. It's one of the hardest things anyone has to deal with. Somebody said, he pulled the old Jamie Lannister. Right? Word of advice. If the beginning of your relationship is full of comparisons to an ex, run. Even when the comparison seems to favor you, it's still a red flag. You over here getting confidence boost from him actually disrespecting you, thinking it's a compliment. Girl, red flags was everywhere. A date every 2 days, and you're trying to get over a break. You're trying to get away from the emotions. You're trying to spend time with me to distract yourself. And after 2 weeks, y'all spent every day together. That's love bombing. And after 3 months, y'all break up. It checks out. It checks out. I'm surprised y'all made it 3 months, but it checks out. Sounds like you were a lot too, because you liked it, so you was very clingy. Eve wanted, oh God, don't you dare take him back when he decides Crazy's too toxic for him. Somebody said when Crazy gets toxic again, he can cuddle the pinky promise he blocked you over. All right? Somebody said, I suggest to you that you check out the YouTube channel You Reclaimed Project and find her playlist on limerence. She said she will do it. Somebody said you are moving way too fast with this guy, you think? Somebody said getting married in a number of years is a huge red flag. Now on the ABU Civ's ex, if you don't know the person, he might have been making it up. I know a lot of guys that be lying, child. And you ever sat down and hear somebody tell a lie and you looking over like, nigga, you saw it. Yo! And if you try to ask, why you always places here? I swear, it's just what it is. I spent most of my life being a third wheel, fifth wheel, seventh wheel, ninth wheel, 10th wheel, not 10th, 11th wheel, 13th wheel. You get the point. And so therefore, you hear a lot of things when you over here. Just you didn't show up with somebody, so you're by yourself. So you entertain yourself with just random people here because you're social when you're in social settings, and you just hear things, you see things, you know things, you mind your business with a lot of things. Especially back in the, I still do, but especially back in the day, I'm heavy on the mind my business. I don't care what's going on. I'm minding my business. You heard? I'm minding my business. So you hear things and see things when people know you decide to mind your business. That's why I know men play games. I've witnessed the game before the game even started. Witnessed the game after. Witnessed the game happening when he think he playing, but I know Shorty playing too. So now this is a sweet game. Because he gonna lose. And then to see him devastated. Nigga, please. All right. Getting married in a number of years is a red flag. And he might have been making it up on the X. Somebody said, "You, why would you clean his place?" Right? 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 In 2 weeks? In 2 months? You over there cleaning? Anyways, Up responded and said he struggled with depression, so I figured that, girl, he struggled with depression over there, depressed over his ex. He was over there depressed over his ex. Girl, you was less than a rebound. You was a caretaker. You was less than a rebound. Damn, that's crazy. He struggled with depression, so I figured the least I can do is help him out to make it feel more like home, and it worked partially. Damn, girl. You played yourself. Somebody say, I get that, but it's up to each person to grow for their own sake. And by doing these things and preventing their consequences, they're not going to hit that point where they go, you know what, this is too much. I need to take charge of my life again and fix it. In that fixing, they pull themselves out of the depression and start feeling more aged. This is not necessarily true. If you do it for them, there's no reason for them not to stay apathetic. This is not true. Caveat being, if it's a shared living space and your cleaning spaces you use, I've lived with a very dirty ex who blamed it all on depression, and if not that, on anything else he could. I'd keep the kitchen clean and the spaces I use and assist clean and let him devolve into a pit in his own areas. Not my problem. The times I did actually use to clean up his spaces, every now and then he'd get mad and then grateful and then let it return to nastiness almost immediately. And then still tell me I never did anything for him and having me in his life was pointless. It's just not worth it. Somebody said, that's very kind. Please don't let this change your heart, because she said, he was depressed and she tried to help him. Somebody said, but now you are saying, look at all the nice things I did and he still left. Because there was nice things to him. He used you, but you were way too available to deal with the breakup from his ex until his ex took him back. Sound like the ex left him and he didn't leave her. Somebody said, well, yes, people do nice things for their partners without holding on to expectations. They'll leave them. Not in 3 months. What is wrong with y'all speedboating, speed racing, road runnering, right up into things that haven't even developed yet? It hasn't developed yet. You planted a seed, you put some water, but it hasn't started sprouting. What are you trying to put in the pot to cook? You haven't gotten the basil yet, sweetheart. The tomato has not. There's no harvest right now. There's no harvest. You're still sowing the seed. In 3 months, you do not know him well enough. Because, again, if you had waited, you would have realized that he's still into his ex and you guys would have had to break it up. Who are you in love with? If he was severely depressed and all of that, who were you in love with? What part of him did you get? Y'all need to stop taking on projects. And stop loving people that are broken because you feel like that's the best you can get. Our responded is that I don't regret it, honestly. I'm a loving person that has still much to give. He was the one who wasted it. You need to calm down, Up. You're moving too fast. Somebody said, don't change that about yourself. Be true to who you are and don't let one bad example leverage your morals into being cynical. Up, move slow. You're moving too fast. Somebody said, don't change that aspect of yourself. You did a nice thing at the end of the day. You also do deserve better and should be with a person on your level. Take a few more and then we out. Somebody says, stop trying to convince yourself you lost a good person to a bad person. That's not what happened, exactly. And honestly, I wouldn't waste time trying to process this. Just be happy it's over and move on. And learn from it. I'm not reading this, I'm saying this. Learn from it and don't move that fast the next time. And if somebody's comparing you to his ex, that's a red flag. He didn't change out of nowhere. He's clearly attracted to drama, but wanted the benefits of a stable, loving partner. So he pretended to be a victim to win your sympathy, to milk you for whatever he could get while waiting to catch his ex's attention again. He probably did something and the ex broke up with him. I've seen women do this, lying when they know they did something to the ex. And I've seen men do it a lot. Listen, at least she has an addiction problem to blame her behavior on. How do you know she's an addict? He says she's an addict. How do you know he ain't the addict? He told you she's an addict. You don't know if that's true. You don't know the ex. I can't tell the amount of men that tell lies, but you get to see the ex clean and pretty. Child, please. At least she has an addiction problem to blame her behavior. And what does he have? Learn from this and don't try to be a chaotic person's peace again. Keep your own peace and move slow. This is called love bombing. You love bombed each other. Yeah, that could be it, but it could be the cycle of abusive relationships, just like the post seems to suggest. It usually takes people several times to stop going back or to fully leave a toxic relationship for good. He needs to be single and work on himself. He don't want to be. He wants to go back. Leave that man and let him be happy. And his own sense of how to be a good partner in the future and his own sense of what he deserves in people in his life. Getting right into his relationship with her and moving super fast into limerence performed as love was a huge red flag in both Up and this guy. Yes. He was just trying to take up his time. He didn't want to be by himself. If he thinks he deserves someone bad, then why did he move on with someone good and then treat them like crap for the bad person though? Either way, I can't blame Up for taking him at face value and then being surprised and hurt when he switched up. Like, she's not the same as her ex-boyfriend. Listen, Up moved too fast. Slow down, Up. Slow down. If you had slowed down, he would have showed his true colors by the time he did all of that. Somebody said because he still has work to do on himself before he's ready. But people don't often make decisions to get in relationships because they're healed enough. They do it because they're lonely and needy. And that's what he did. Op has work to do too. She moved way too fast. I'm glad somebody has seen it. With someone that just got out of a bad relationship. He's not ready to be dating. A long-term relationship, that's even worse. And missed red flags and needs to work on slowing down and seeing that stuff before getting swept up. What someone tells you isn't the whole story, period. And moving slowly helps you to see that. And nobody healthy would move on quickly from a long-term relationship or a toxic one. No one. You know you got to take time to heal and process before jumping in with someone new. And you know the other person needs that too. To be honest, I said men do it a lot, but women do it too. Women go let a friend convince her that to get over one, you get under another. Oh, God. Go to therapy, shorty. And then men don't seem to like to deal with emotions. So now he just finds somebody else. The thing is, for some reason, I just don't feel like men lose when they do that. Women lose, but men don't. I feel that. When I look at it, I can't see how he lost. He's found somebody to bridge the gap between his ex and his next, whether that's going back to the ex. And, you know, what did you get out of it? Because you invested and then he left to go back or to go somewhere else. You are a rebound. Don't put yourself in a predicament to become a rebound. Do not date somebody fresh out of a long-term relationship. Do not date somebody fresh out of a relationship. Do not date somebody that is comparing you to their ex. That's wild and crazy. And this is so much other red flags. In 3 months, you guys were like a married couple. Secure relationships aren't built on accident. We're going to take maybe 2 more comments and get up out of here. Somebody said, this is a lesson many people have to learn the hard way. If you start dating someone and they are making it seem like they are madly in love with you, get ready for them to leave and never contact you again out of nowhere. It's love bombing. Somebody said, you're completely right about having to learn the hard way. To be honest, I wouldn't have believed you and thought it was just bitterness talking from an unfortunate situation. But the exact same thing happened to me. It never happened to me, but I observed it millions of times, child. Enough to know I'm cool. Somebody said, he reassured me how perfect and so much better I am. Guys that compare you in any shape or way or form to their exes are red flags. It's a sign that he's not over the ex and he's using you to get over the ex, and you realize that you are willing to be desperate enough to play the game of I'm better than your ex. You are willing to fight for him and his attention, and that's why you're in this predicament. Couple more. 3-month rule undefeated. People can't keep up their mask longer than that before cracking. I'm telling you, 3 months is not enough. He's still putting his best foot forward, and he just got out of a relationship. He's just using three months are roughly around the rebound time. 3 to 6 months. It goes the way it's supposed to go. It went the way I thought it would have went. Somebody said, one of my friends like to say, anyone can hold it together for 3 months. I'm telling you. Mine kept his on for a year, but when it slipped, it melted off. Somebody said, ladies, you do not have to fix him. Get someone with their ish already together and make sure your ish is all together too. Users do not care about the work you put in. They care about the benefit, period. Because if you care for yourself, you wouldn't be here. He said somebody would be getting this because you obviously gullible and naive and you're willing to give all of this. Somebody else would be getting it, so why not me? You know, he has self-worth for himself. You don't. All right, this might be the last one. He said, I'm sorry you got caught in the figurative crossfire of his toxic previous relationship. Please console yourself with the knowledge that the love bombing he gave you during the first 2 months is not the real him. The real him started showing when the mask came off in month 3. The person he really is was not that perfect guy. If he'd stayed, you'd have been spinning your wheels trying to recreate those first 2 months unsuccessfully. And he'd still be pining for his toxic ex while finding fault with you because you've committed the sin of not being her. He probably did that to the ex too. If he was going to flip the switch on you like that, turning off the charm and turning on nastiness, it's fortunate he did it early so as not to waste too much of your time. Please grieve the figurative death of the love bombing you thought he was. That guy's gone and he's not coming back, and it's okay to be sad about it, but you haven't lost the perfect guy. The very damaged guy he actually is has spared you from having to continue dealing with him. Block him on all the things if you can. Your own healing process will thank you. Somebody says, thank you. I'm glad I posted this. I feel less crazy now. All right, this is the last one. Somebody said, real talk, you need some introspection here. He love bombed you and you ate it up. Yep. He's not the perfect, emotionally stable guy your rose-colored glasses are telling you he is. She's not the evil ex that's stealing him away. By the way, nobody can steal nobody unless they were adult napped or, all that's not that they made a choice. So don't get to blaming somebody else. Get to blaming the person that left. He chose her and not you, but you don't want to look at it like that because it hurts. He chose that life. He's just as emotionally unstable as his ex or maybe even more. And that's why they clicked together. Him being emotionally unstable is why he was so over the top into you from the jump. That I've never met somebody that is a love bomber that's a good person. Don't fight me on it. I'm just telling you, I've been around him. I don't come from function. I come from dysfunction. A lot of it too. Seen it all my life, child. And I think seeing it, being an observer and seeing it, and then always being the 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, 11th wheel, let me really observe a lot of things. And I can tell you, I have never met a guy that's into, or a girl, but it's predominantly guys that I see do this. But the women tend to be into it too. But the guys tend to, I've never seen nobody that's into love bombing that wasn't behind the scenes a terrible person. Never. I've never met one of them because they all know what they're doing. I've never met a love bomber that love bombs that doesn't know he's love bombing. And if you ever have like maybe a relative or somebody or just a really good friend, family friend or somebody, or you just listen to men talk, then you will hear them. They're plotting all of it. Plotting all of it. They say, if I take a hit, listen, I ain't even going to get into it. I'm just saying, if you know, then you know. I've never met a love bomber that's this great guy. He's emotionally manipulating you and getting the emotions that he wants out of you. And 3 months is the honeymoon phase, and then he has to move on. And then they do, like somebody told me before, that they perform in the bedroom so crazy that she's going to be hooked. So while he's moving on, chasing somebody else, the ex is still hooked on him, so he always have access over there. Because a lot of women, this is how they believe it, because this is what the person said, a lot of women equivalent great sex to great emotional bond, which is not the truth. And the better you have sex with them, the more emotionally bonded they become to you. So this person said they perform very well. And then after that, she will always chase him. She will always want him. There's nothing he can do. And then once he switch up on her, she'll always try to fix him to get him back to the place of the guy that she met. I'm telling y'all, never met a guy that love bomb that's not into that shit. Somebody says, this is the comment I was looking for. This is exactly it. You dodge a bullet, heal and move on, block him back because he will be back. Don't take him back. Go no contact. F them both. Thank you all so much. I really need to hear that. That's Op talking. And then I'm going to read this one and okay, I'm going to read these two because I've seen this one too and I like it. Somebody said, you moved way too quickly with him. You didn't know him that well. Until he can break away from them and he really needs time and counseling, he isn't ready for a relationship now, let alone one that is serious. Take time to get to know someone. Moving fast usually doesn't work the way it sounds like fairy tales. Somebody, and then this is going to really be the last one, says, don't date men fresh out of relationships, especially toxic ones. I've never met a woman and a man, especially if they're fresh out of a toxic relationship, that didn't like the toxicity in some way. And they're so used to the toxicity that your healthiness is going to be unattractive and boring because they're so used to all this excitement and drama all the time. So unless they've been through and processed, did the shadow work, went to therapy, went to counseling, actually dealt with it, and understood how terrible that was for them, and that's not what they want, dating them right after that, you're only setting yourself up for failure. Unless you're toxic too. Somebody says, don't date men fresh out of a relationship, especially toxic ones. You don't have to help anyone heal, especially something you did not break. Go for men that have done the healing themselves. Sorry you were the rebound. He's probably just as toxic as the ex, so consider it a bullet that was dodged. Op says, I actually didn't know because he lied to me all along. Connected the dots after the breakup. He didn't show much signs either, but you are right. He was probably toxic either way. Somebody responded to that and said, but you were having him sleep over after second week. That's friends with benefit. That is da-da-da. Like you're building intimacy. You're not building a relationship. You need to spend more time to get to know the person. Feeling like you're married after a month and a half is crazy. You don't know somebody in a month and a half. Unless you guys were friends before, like long-term, serious friends, not just co-workers, da-da-da. I mean friends. Not friend of a friend. Friend. That was your best friend. That was your good friend. That was your great friend. And then you guys are stepping over the boundary of friend into intimate, and so you know this person know you. And even then you have to move slow to make sure that you don't destroy a friendship because you both have hormones. You know what I mean? Somebody said, but you were having sleepover after the second week. You're moving way too fast and not getting to know people. Instead, you're hoping everything they say is true. And it sounds like this has happened to you before. If you have no standards and just let any guy love bomb you, then this is going to keep happening. Yes. Last thing, she says, it actually happened for the first time ever. It was first time a guy also didn't want to have sex with me. So I got a little bit ahead of myself there thinking it's safe. That's actually a trick. Them acting like they don't want it. Trick. Somebody said, this is super frustrating. I think we've all been there. On the upside now, you're free to find someone who can put you first. Somebody said, true, as awful as it feels right now, this frees you up for someone who isn't still emotionally tangled up in relationship. You deserve to actually be the priority. Op responded and said, yeah, but it's such a confusing thing to experience. It all happened so fast, I could hardly process this. One day I had hope for finally meeting someone for me, and next thing I know, he was gone. Somebody said, you can do better by helping men less. And somebody said, absolutely, it really sucks. And it sucks he did that to you. That's all the comments. There's no more comments. Hop in the comment section and tell me, do you agree with what I said? Do you agree with the comments? Have you ever done this? Do you know what I'm talking about when I said that, men do love bomb, women do love bomb. Dating so quickly where 2 weeks you're having sleepover and 3 months you feel like a married couple is a recipe for disaster. That's a fairy tale. That's a movie stuff. There might be 1 out of a million that actually have a story like that it lasted. But those are 1 out of a million that were actually being honest. And their intention was for long term. They weren't using you as a rebound. They weren't just trying to play you to get some cooch. They wasn't just trying to find somebody to be a companion. Some companies that they're not in the crib alone. None of that. They weren't trying to play you. There was 2 genuine persons that met each other that built a life together. That's different. And again, that's 1 in a million. The rest of y'all is just setting yourself up for failure. All right, but she's young. She sounds like she's young. So, Anon N22-JQ. I wish you all the best, beautiful. I wish you all the best. You're young. You learned a valuable lesson because sometimes you have to earn it to learn it. Okay, so you went through it. You're better able to understand your daughter when she comes to you to speak because you'll be speaking from a place of experience. And I think this will also teach you to guard your heart. Guard your heart just a little bit more, all right, baby love? All right, take care of yourself. Stay away from that ex. He's just as toxic as his so-called ex, and I'm telling you, everything he told you was a lie. I promise you. All them stories was just to get you to pity him because when he was depressed over his ex. Leave that man alone. Stay far away from him. And y'all hop in my comments and tell me if y'all agree with me. You already know. This is Read the Comments. You can find me in somebody's comment section. Just be nosy. And I just might read one of your comments, all right? Take care.